evening, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today's webinar. So it's proudly brought to you by ERA as well as EdgeProp Singapore. So today's lineup at 8 p.m. to 8:20, Eugene Lim and Nicholas Mark will be sharing an overview on HDB market. Will prices and volume continue to rise? I think a lot of people are interested in knowing that. Next at 8:20 to 8:40, Thomas Tan, Neo Chi Seng, and as well as Rainer will be sharing about are you looking to upgrade? What are your options right now? At 8:40 to 8:50, George Wang as well as James Poe will be sharing on the property showcase for two projects, and then followed by the most exciting part, which is the panel discussion between Marcus Chu, Doris Ong, CEO and COO of ERA, as well as the moderator, Mr. Bernard Tong, CEO of EdgeProp Singapore. Okay, so without further ado, let's invite Eugene and Nicholas on screen. Hi, Eugene and Nicholas. Are you there?
Hello. Hey, hi, Sharmi.
Hi, welcome. So Eugene is the KEO of ERA, as well as Nicholas Mark. He is actually head of research and consultancy. So they will be sharing with us on the topic an overview on HDB market. Will prices and volume continue to rise? So are y'all good to go?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'll leave it to you already.
Right, very good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. And Nicholas and I have the privilege to kickstart tonight's webinar. So we'll be looking into the HDB resale market, will prices and volume continue to increase? So without further ado, I'm gonna ask Nicholas. Nicholas looks after our research and consultancy, so he's the numbers person, and he's the one that we go to try and make sense of some of the numbers that are coming, being publicized in the market. So Nicholas, the HDB resale market has hit a record high in the third quarter. And we saw the fastest 9 months climb in more than a decade. So would you like to tell us what is happening and why is this so?
Yes, hi, Eugene. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Nicholas Mark. Yes, I think from Eugene's description, some people think that I'm a bean counter. We don't just count numbers, but we try to, of course, relate it to the real world. And okay. And what is more real than type of housing, HDB flats where 80% of the population live in it? Yes, HDB resale prices actually has hit a record high. This is like the highest point in the history of HDB flats. But we must put this in context. If you were to look at that trend, where for over a 6 years period from 2013 to 2019, the HDB for 6 years, HDB resale prices actually declined, although it was a very long U-shaped decline, as you can see in that in the chart above. So as it goes down, it's a long U-shape. But what happened is that from the middle of 2019 to currently now, it has actually increased by about 15.1%. So the increase is very sharp compared to previous. Now, the last time we had this kind of increase was from 2011 to 2013, but that was partly driven also by a few factors, economic recovery, as well as growing population. So if we were to look at the numbers, we see that in just 1 quarter, the increase is basically across the board of 2% from 3-room flats at 2% to 2.7% for the larger flats. And one of the reasons for the price increase is because of economic growth. Now, real estate growth that is supported by economic growth are more sustainable. And yes, although there was economic recession in the first and second quarter of this year because of the circuit breaker and of course ultimately because of the pandemic. But our economy is recovering, and if you look at the whole trend, it is actually on an uptrend. And another reason is that median household income is also increasing. Yes, increased by 45% from a decade ago. And that is also another reason that makes many households able to buy HDB resale flats, and that contribute to the increasing price. But of course, not forgetting, it's a very odd that during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have this rise in the HDB resale prices. And one of the reasons is because of this supply chain disruption that we're seeing, things that we are ordering, things that we are used to, they are taking longer to come to Singapore. And sometimes some of the things don't even come in time. Like for example, to build something, you need a lot of material, cement, sand, the steel bars and glasses, and a lot of other things, aluminum and copper and so on. And some of these are not coming in on time, and that leads to delays and also disruption, and also shortage of manpower. The number of foreign laborers that's coming in is not enough to meet the supply. So as a result, that is the main reason why we are seeing this increase in housing prices, because the BTO flats constructions are getting disrupted, and some buyers are switching to the resale market.
Yeah, indeed, it's very, very true. There's a huge delay in the BTO side. Just recently, if you look at all the recent BTO launches, if you were thinking of applying for BTO flats, and if you were to look at the delivery dates, it will be easily 4 or 5 years time. So if you're planning to get married and start a family, you gotta wait 5 years, for your BTO flat. So inevitably, those with more urgent housing needs, they are moving into the resale market. And quite a number, we do see quite a number of, in fact, first timers also coming back to the resale market instead of waiting for BTO, going the BTO route. Quite largely, driven by the need, the urgency need. Okay, let's look at transactions now. Transaction volume is also on the upswing. It went up by 19.4% to 8,433 units in the third quarter. That's a quite a significant increase from the previous quarter. So what buying trends are we observing in the market, Nicholas?
Well, if we look at the numbers, we see that actually in the third quarter, the rise in the HDB resale transaction is actually across the board. Even though in the third quarter, we have the Hungry Ghost Month, but that don't seem to deter people. I think the fear of missing out in case prices rise some further, FOMO, is actually greater than the fear of any hungry ghosts for some people. So they are still buying. And we noticed that the overall transaction volume increased by 19%, but what the higher rate of growth is actually for 3-room flats and 5-room flats. The number of transactions for 3-room flat rise by 23%, 5-room flats 22%. So it's above the average 19%. And I think part of the reason for the larger flats, like 5-room flats, is that there are people who want more space because they are working from home. And for 3-room flats, perhaps that is the affordable type of housing for some of the younger couples who are just starting out. So that is some of the trends. But what we are seeing also is that because of this high number of resale transactions, the total transactions for this year could exceed 30,000 HDB flats, which will be a 10-year high compared to what we have seen previously. Ever since the government introduced some cooling measures, including tightening the MSR mortgage servicing ratio for HDB flats, HDB resale transactions has fallen in 2013 and 14, but it has gradually recovered. But that jump from 2020 to 2021 is quite steep. Well, we are seeing, I think for people who are looking to sell and also looking to buy, it's a very active year. One more reason is that there are also a high number of newly completed, or rather flats that have reached the end of their 5-year MOP in the last 2-3 years that are entering the market. And these new flats, some of them are in very attractive locations. They are also commanding higher prices, and they are also contributing to that higher transaction volume. Over to you, Eugene.
Yeah, indeed, it's very true. It's quite interesting to note that traditionally, actually, the 4-room flats are the most popular flat type, and you will see a significant, a good growth in the number of transactions. But the third quarter data actually showed that 5-room flats was a significant increase, right, from 1,000 plus units to 2,000 plus units in a quarter. So people are going for larger units. I suppose it's the work from home syndrome. People are looking for more space and all that.
Yes.
Well, coming back to prices, record number of HDB flats actually changed hands for at least $1 million this year. All right, and as at the end of the month, end of October, 192 HDB flats were sold for at least 1 million. This is the highest number in a year on record, right? We have never seen such numbers. And just yesterday it was reported in the media that a 5-room HDB flat in Bishan changed hands at an all-time high of 1.36 million. Wow, 1.36 million for a 5-room flat. And this is the most expensive resale flat sold to date. I mean, Nicholas, where are all these $1 million flats in Singapore, and why are buyers willing to pay so much money for them?
I think that if we look at the transaction volume of HDB flats, I think one of the reasons why there are so many $1 million flats, part of that is because some of them are due to the previous reasons that I mentioned. Supply chain disruption in the construction market caused more people to enter the HDB resale market, and at the same time there are also more new HDB flats entering the market. So, and I think Bishan is a very unique town. It is small, centrally located, quite well developed. There are also popular schools around there, and that is another reason contributing to that high demand for HDB flats there. And these are the locations or the HDB towns where by ranking, you see the most number of $1 million flats. Number one, Central area, which actually is one project there, Pinnacle at Duxton, that has the highest number. Every year, if we were to rank them, very often it's Pinnacle at Duxton that comes up the most number of transactions. Number two ranking, Bishan. Number three is Queenstown, and Queenstown is from Mei Ling Street, which is since 2012, there has been $1 million flats there. And recently, of course, it is the Dawson projects. The Dawson projects, actually from a distance, you look at it, some of them, they look like condominium. It's high rise, it's well located near the MRT stations, and it's brand new. So Toa Payoh and Bukit Merah brings up number 4 and number 5 for the $1 million flats. So those are some of the locations that are contributing to that. Another reason, why is it that some people are willing to pay more than $1 million for a HDB flat? Take, for example, Bishan. If someone were to go to Bishan with a housing budget of $1.3 million, it would be very difficult for them to find a 3-bedroom condominium unit for sale. That is, I'm talking about 99 years condominium that is more than 10 years old. In fact, some of them are going for at least $1.5 million now. So with a budget of $1.3 million, the person will have to look for HDB flats if they really need to buy something in a family size unit in Bishan. Over to you, Eugene.
That's right. So we are seeing that a lot of these buyers actually, they place a premium, all right, not only on location, but also I think a good number of these flats that are sold, they are high floor, fantastic view, nice renovation, all right, and you know, it's like a trophy in the HDB arena. And so I think we also know that because of the increasing number of these sellers who are able to sell their flats for more than $1 million, they all upgrade. I think most of them I think we did some of the deals. We did quite a number of these deals, and we and quite a number of these sellers, they moved on to private housing, right? Not,
yes.
I mean, a very, very logical upgrade. You sell your HDB for over $1 million. Next upgrade is definitely a private condominium, right? Or better. Okay, so let's continue. I think last week the HDB rules, HDB announced some changes in their policy with the aim to keep flats in prime locations affordable by taming the so-called lottery effect or excessive gains when such flats are resold. I mean, just a brief rundown, what are some of these measures, and do you actually think these measures will work?
I think this is the great talk of the town in terms of in the real estate circle in the last week, since last Wednesday. Now, first, the objectives of this prime location public housing or PLH model is that the government wants to ensure that public housing built in prime locations like the city centre, if there's going to be another Pinnacle at Duxton, and the Greater Southern Waterfront will remain affordable, accessible, and inclusive for all Singaporeans. They want to come up with a fairer system to minimize the lottery effect. In other words, they're going to cream away part of the excessive profit. Doesn't mean that if you buy a flat in there, you're not going to make any profit after you sell in the resale market. It's just that the supernormal profit will be creamed off, and to allow a wider group of Singaporeans, including low-income families, to live in these prime locations. So some of the things will include clawing back or part of the excessive profit. Number two is the priority allocation quota for married children priority scheme to be adjusted so that if, let's say, the parents live in some of this prime location, the children does not automatically or get a higher priority to live near their parents. Sorry. Additional eligibility condition will come into that. Longer MOP. Normal MOP is 5 years. Now they are extending this to 10 years, even in the resale market, and to integrate public rental flats for low-income family where feasible. So if you were to compare the normal BTO models with the PLH model, basically they look, some of the things look quite similar, like can they sell in the resale market? Yes, they can after MOP, but the MOP for PLH is 10 years, not 5. Investment in private property, yes, they can. But those who you have the PLH flats, you have to live in your flat while renting out your private property and not live in the private property and rent out the flat. Can you rent out the whole flat after for normal ones? HDB flat, yes. For the PLH flats, no, not allowed, but you are allowed to rent out the spare room. So other things, okay, to run through very quickly is that you must have at least one person in the household as Singapore citizens. And currently, the family, you must form a family nuclear, same for both types of flats, but singles are not allowed to buy the resale flats. For the time being, the government may adjust this later. The other interesting thing is that regardless of what is your household income, you can always buy a HDB resale flats, even if you make $1 million a year. But for those who want to buy in the prime locations, these new flats in the prime location, even in the resale market, they have to have an income ceiling of $14,000 per month. But based on our calculation, household with this amount up to maximum of $14,000 a month can still afford to buy flats that is with a budget of $1 million to $1.1 million. The other thing is basically the ownership of private property for those who buy the PLH flats is that you can invest in private property, but you still have to continue to live in your HDB flat. So this is one of the first location near Rochor, Kelantan Lane. There, the MRT station is not too far away, quite well located in the city area, and the artist's impression of the future flat. So the effects of the model is, yes, it will reduce the investment potential of PLH flats because there is longer MOP, cannot rent out entire flat even after the end of MOP, and subsidy recovery. So the government have not said how much will be clawed back. They will release the details later. So owners have to view the flat more as a home to live rather than an investment of flat to be rented out after the MOP. And the government will use it as a tool to build a more inclusive community of various socio-economic groups. Now, there has been a lot of debates and so on about what's the effects on the private housing market. One, it actually depends on the number of PLH flats. If the number is very small, the effects will be small, and vice versa. Now, the 10-year MOP is going to make the flat owners, they cannot live in private property for 5 years or more compared to other flats. So it may in a way lock in more owners into this type of flats. So that is a bit negative for the private housing market. And the other thing is the capital gain from selling the PLH flats will be not that high, not like those at Pinnacle at Duxton, where they keep all the capital gains. Here, part of the gains will be creamed off by the government. But on the other side is that it could actually increase demand for condominiums and normal HDB flats, especially those HDB flats that might be on the fringe or near the prime districts. Like those two people who do not want the PLH restrictions will buy either the usual HDB flats or private condo. So these are the prime locations will include like those areas in white, the Greater Southern Waterfront. And I think one of the areas that the government might be rolling out some of the projects will be near the former Keppel Club area. And yes. So
okay.
Over to you, Eugene.
So important thing to note, actually, from what we have learned so far, I think personally to me, the PLH model doesn't look very attractive. Right, the lock-in period is 10 years, then cannot rent out, everything cannot. It's really like what you say, is for a place for you to stay and can't do anything else with. So I think the indirect impact is that it actually make existing HDB flats that are not, and especially those HDB flats that are in
Hello? Wait.
I think we lost Eugene there.
Yes. Oh, so I'm still online, sorry.
Yeah. Maybe you can help him cover a bit more on his question.
Okay.
For him to come back.
Okay, I think the next one we want to touch on is about the HDB BTO supply. The question right now is, yes, we have this new model, but we have to bear in mind, this new model is only the first project is going to be rolled out in November next, which is sometime this month, but it's going to be very gradual. It's not like this. All the BTO supply from now onwards are all going to be under this new regulation. Only those HDB flats that are in the prime locations. And the government will still roll out HDB BTO projects in all other parts of Singapore, Woodlands, Jurong, Toa Payoh, and Punggol, and so on. So now, one of the issue is how can we what is the government going to do to try to cool the HDB resale market? One possibility is that there could be cooling measures. Or would there be cooling measures? Well, method one is to curb demand, okay, which will be very unpopular. Like, for example, coming up with higher taxes or making even harder for people to buy HDB flats. But HDB flats is the most affordable type of housing in Singapore. It's impractical to try to limit people from buying HDB flats, whether be it BTO or resale. The second method, of course, is to increase the supply. Now, this is based on economics theory. You have rising prices, you either curb demand or you increase supply, which is what the government is doing. They will be gradually increasing supply, but because of the supply chain disruption, they cannot ramp up BTO supply as much as they want. If they have their way, they'll probably increase it to about 20,000 flats this year and next year. But what we're seeing is that they roll out about 17,000 flats last year. They will roll out 17,000 flats this year, slightly more. 16,800 last year, about 17,000 this year, and next year it could be at least 17,000 or more, according to the latest information. So this is, will it cool the market? I think that probably in the next 6 months or so, HDB resale prices will still rise because it's not something that can be cooled off very quickly. But in the meantime, we are still, well, the government is doing all it can, trying its best to try to manage the situation.
Okay, so what's your outlook for the HDB resale market? Will prices continue to rise? Will transactions continue to increase?
Well, okay. If we were to look at the transaction volume for HDB resale in 2019, and why we picked 2019 is because this is pre-COVID period. We see typically the HDB transaction volume for that 5-10 years before that was between 20,000 to 24,000 HDB units a year. Private residential, roughly between 9,000 to 10,000 units for that 3 years, 2017, 18, 19 per year. And for the private resale, it's roughly also slightly less than 10,000, that's an 11,000 a year. But in the first 9 months of this year, HDB resale transaction already hit 23,000. And I think for the whole of this year, we could see about 27,000 to, HDB resale, we could see 30,000, about 31,000 HDB resale flats transacted in just this year alone. Private residential new sale, that's a developer sales. First 9 months, we already hit 10,000. Developers sold 10,000 private housing units. For the whole of this year, it could be between 12,000 to 13,000 units. Private resale, 15,000 over. So we could hit perhaps even 19 to 21,000 for the whole of this year. So I think it's going to be a very active year. This means buyers, you have a lot of choices in the housing market. And we also see that the share of HDB resale has dropped somewhat. That means there are more people actually buying private housing compared to pre-COVID period. So in the first 9 months of this year, the private property market, private housing market has been more active. In the way some people are selling their HDB flat and upgrading. And I think if you look at this chart, you explain why. Because although the HDB resale, the private housing prices is rising, but HDB resale prices actually rose faster. It increased year on year by about 12.5%. While the HDB, the private housing prices is increasing at a slightly slower rate. So some people are taking the opportunity to cash out on their HDB resale flats and upgrading to the private property.
That's right. So if you hold this chart, if you are considering to upgrade, sell your HDB to upgrade to a private condo, now is the time. Just look at the curve. The green curve is on a super upswing. Catching up, the rate of increase is climbing, and so this is actually the opportune time to perhaps cash out of your HDB to upgrade to better housing. All right, so yeah.
So if you look at this number over for HDB resale for just in the third quarter alone, it increased by 12.5% over a 2-year period, 15%. Private residential, 7.5% increase year on year. But for other properties, for those who have holding on to other properties like office and retail, the COVID situation has actually caused the capital value to decline, and it might continue to decline until COVID is eventually over. And for the industrial property, they're just breaking even. Very small rate of change, but it has also gone through quite turbulent times over the last 2 years. Over to you, Eugene.
Okay, so there you have it. In the short term, we expect the HDB resale market to continue to be on the upswing as in terms of prices and transaction volume. So as they say, upgrading time, this is now or never. All right, to upgrade to private property. So over to you, Shami.
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you so much as well, Nicholas. Thank you. Okay, I think all of you would be really excited about this topic because it's very timely insight and it definitely helped you in your journey to look for for your next property. So please feel free to ask any question to the speaker. The speaker will be answering your question in the chat due to time constraints. So they didn't have enough time to actually answer your question live. So they will be helping you to answer inside the chat. Okay, now let's invite the next set of speaker, Thomas Tan, COO of ERA. He's actually looking after the agency business. And then we'll also invite Chi Seng and Rainer, Advisory Group Division Director, on screen now. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, just to make sure that everyone just to make sure that everyone is hearing us loud and clear. If you guys can hear Thomas loud and clear, please key number 1 inside the chat group. Let us know that you guys are hearing us loud and clear. If you guys are joining us on Facebook Live, please go and like and share so that we can also share this piece of information, this segment, to everyone whom you feel that who are HDB owners and they may be interested to find out the next segment. You guys have already heard the statistics, right? The data does not lie. The data speaks for itself. The data tells you that now your HDB has got quite good volume in terms of its sales, quite good prices right now. So if some of you are thinking of, as HDB owner, if some of you are thinking of upgrading, okay, or even downsizing, if you are thinking about that, whether you are in whichever dimension of your life, whichever life stage, whether you're starting out, whether you got married, got kids, retiring, this segment is for you, because we're going to look at all the different options you may potentially be looking at, and we hope to be able to use this segment. We only have 20 minutes, okay? We hope to use this segment in the matter of very short time to illustrate to you. These are some of the possibilities that you can potentially think about. Without further ado, let's go and think. Okay, all of us are in this position when we are, let's say, a couple, married couple, when kids come along and all that. What are we thinking of? We are thinking of what are we going to purchase, isn't it? Alright, we have this thinking to say that, hey, do I buy resale condo? Do I buy a BTO flat? Do I buy a condo? Do I buy an EC? If you guys have also the same, you guys are also in the same position as me when I started off in my married life and all that, you guys can key number 2. If you guys are in the same position, you guys have this same consideration. What am I going to buy every time I look at all the different options out there, right? Okay, so we have got folks who are asking in the chat group already, views on EC versus condo. It's coming. Okay, you guys came to the right session, because this is a segment we are going to answer all these questions for you. Okay, so let's show you some of the things that we always think about as agents when we go out and talk to consumers like yourself. Okay, we always think about a few things. What are the space, right? Just now you mentioned, just now Eugene and Nicholas actually mentioned that some of the bigger HDB flats, like 5-room flat, executive flats even, okay, the spacious one are actually pretty much in demand because of the work from home syndrome, right? You guys need to know, importantly, the financial considerations whenever you look at your private property or EC or even the resale EC, right? And many of you are thinking of, should I buy freehold, leasehold, right? So there are some considerations that you need to make. What we are trying to do is to give you the illustration and the concepts, what to concentrate on. Okay, then of course, if you guys are thinking of now the agent's job is just beyond telling you what is the property you should buy. We also cover things like whether in the event of a mental incapacity, do you have a LPA, lasting power of attorney, inside or not? Do you have it in place or not to help you make decisions, right? Family members to help you make decisions. Do you have contingency funds or not when you do that? So what we're going to do very quickly is this. Thomas is going to give you a very quick case study, all right, together with Chi Seng as well as Rainer. I'm going to bring them in very shortly. I'll just do the intro, then they will give you the meat, the substance to what's going to happen in this particular segment, right? So we look at a typical HDB couple. Okay, we look at them typically from their early 40s. All right, they have been living in a HDB flat for possibly the past decade or so. They bought their Punggol 5-room flat. They bought it in 2011. Now they are selling it. Okay, so this is a very typical example of a typical couple moving, thinking of considering, I've already lived in my HDB flat. It's time for me to make a move. Can I make the move? Can I make it? All right, and to the various options, we're going to give you each of the options, whether it's an EC, whether it's a private property. We're going to cover all this in ASAP, as fast as we can. Okay, and this is our national statistics. In case you do not know, a couple in their early 40s, on a median basis, this is national statistics. We can show you the statistics if you have time. You just need to contact any of our ERA teammates. We can show you some of these statistics. We provide them with such information. They actually earn 7K on a monthly basis basis, in a median basis. Median means a lot of people fall into that bracket. So let's give you option number 1. And this is the point of time, okay? I will share with you, and I will probably invite my, together with me, my panelists, Rainer or Chi Seng, you guys can add on, all right, to look at the option number 1, okay? Option number 1 in terms of selling the HDB flat because it's at a pretty good price now, and moving on to purchase 2 properties, okay? One property is a resale EC, second property is a new launch. Can I invite my panelists to make some comments, please? Who would like to come in?
Thanks, Thomas. Jiseng, you want to comment?
Or... Please, you go ahead, please. Okay. I'll join you shortly.
So,
they paiseh, they very paiseh who to go first. Okay, I arrow. Okay, let's have Rainer. Rainer have some comments.
All right. Okay, thanks. Okay, for this particular option, it is possible. Okay, in fact, it's prudent and reasonable. But of course, for this option of selling your existing HDB in the earlier profile of buying at a BTO flat at 350, and then you're exiting at the current market of say around 720K, you'll be able to buy what we call a resale EC at about 1.1 to 1.2 million in the current market. And of course, at the same time, buying a second property at say around 850K for investment. Okay, what are the few key things to take note? Okay, this particular strategy is usually for young couple around their early 40s, what we call their we call it a second stage of wealth accumulation stage. So generally in a property journey, right, we call it a wealth starter, wealth accumulation, and wealth preservation. So generally the wealth preservation is more on the at the nearer to our golden age, where we just want to preserve the capital. So this is for those who are wanting to let their money work slightly harder for them, because you need a higher leverage for these 2 particular property. So this is with upside potential, building wealth in mind. So for those who are able to stomach the risk, okay, but it's still a calculated risk, of course, I would say that this is a possible option 1, based on the earlier scenario that Thomas has illustrated. Over to Jiseng, any point to add on?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Rainer. I think this is the option that some of the younger working, maybe no graduate couples, income around 7K, they can consider this option. Now, when this option come in, although they are exposed to 2 property, actually 1 property is actually funded by the tenant, because when you rent out 1 property, you actually have a rental income. So there's a group of actually young people who like to actually build more asset during their younger day. So this strategy will not work for somebody who is actually older. So you have to take into account your age, your income, is it on the way up? And these are some important consideration. And whenever you actually stretch to buy 2 property, always take care of risk management strategy. You must set aside contingency fund in case you cannot rent out the house. Then what can you do? So through the profit of the first house, BTO flat, they actually make quite a good gain. It is very prudent that when they buy the next house, they actually calculate to set aside contingency funds. So when we say sell 1, buy 2, please, it does not mean that you buy the maximum that one can buy. You have to be very prudent about the affordability and serviceability every month. Right. So yes, Rainer, is there anything you want to add? If not, then maybe we can move on to the second option.
Yes. Due to for the interest of time, let's move on to the second option. So we are very clear in option number 1. If you are going to do it, okay, please take care of the gearing, because you do need to gear in terms of gear means you need to borrow for both properties, right, in both persons' name, right? So therefore, you need the risk tend to be calculated, yes, but it's a little bit higher compared to our option number 2. So option number 2, would someone like to take over? Would that be Rainer again?
Yes, okay, I would.
Buying an
okay,
EC?
For this particular option, I saw one of the questionnaire from the attendees who mentioned should he buy EC or condo, right? The answer is it all depends. There's few important notes that you need to take note, especially when you are able to buy new EC. Okay, I call it the privilege group, because as you are aware, for new EC, right, you need to fulfill certain criteria. So if you're privileged and you don't want to take too much risk, definitely EC is a good buy. Why is that so? Because it is factually supported that generally EC is approximately 15 to 20% cheaper as compared to new condominium. Okay, we call it the new launch condominium. Why is that so? Because for two reasons. Number one, the land cost is lower, and of course, number two, government actually added restriction to it to make sure that the pricing is not being overly done up by the developer. Say for example, the MSR 30% is exactly to do that. The 5-year MOP is exactly to do that. So for starter who wanted wealth creation and don't want to take too much of a risk, and if you're eligible, please buy it because it is a privileged group that can actually buy this. Anything to add on, Chi-Sing, for this one?
Yes, I think for EC, this is the option for people who want new house. They don't want a resale house, and they actually do not want to overgear. They prefer to have a couple servicing a property that's 1.15 million. Monthly installment probably will be 3,000 plus, and with husband and wife both above 6K income, they need to just top up funds of probably about $1,000 per month, and they could very comfortably afford this option in a very relaxed, risk-free manner, though the holding period will be longer as compared to buying a private property. So this is the option for people who want to increase their asset value from a HDB 700 over K to a 1.2 million, 1.15 million kind of property. So they increase the asset value, but at a lower risk.
Yeah, and we take note that just to remind everyone what are the case study. The example is a couple in their 40s, early 40s who earn 7K each. Okay, they are selling their Punggol 5-room flat at about 720 when they bought it about 10-12 years ago at 350. So their asset has their capital gain has already gone paper wise approximately 1 time more. Okay, you times 2 already. Then they liquidate that particular HDB flat. So the first option we covered was to move into a private property. In fact, 2 private properties, right? But that one has got you need to gear a little bit more, leverage from the bank a little bit more, borrow a little bit more. Whereas the second option here for EC, brand new EC itself, you look, the price point is at 1.15 mil. All these numbers are, please, ladies and gentlemen, Thomas and Chi-Sing and Rainer did not pull from the air. These are real numbers that we use based on current launches, what's happening with the prices now. So it's highly doable, it's highly affable in terms of the numbers itself. Okay, we try to make the case study as realistic as possible. Now, let's move on to option number 3. Option number 3 is to look at immediate occupation in terms of those of you who do not mind a flat, a condo that has been lived in before. Okay, it is available immediately. You do not need to wait for constructions. Okay, so but to buy a resale condo itself, okay, we do also tell you that because you sell your HDB flat, you liquidate your cash, you move it into a resale condo. The plus point is you have a little bit of spare cash to think about. You have you can move in immediately in that sense. Okay, so I will ask my panelists again to add on more points of the pros and cons in terms of buying a resale condo. Maybe Rainer again. Okay, I always target Rainer.
Okay, so for this option 3, right, is highly feasible as well. The plus point is, of course, you can move in immediately. So especially for a profile who wanted immediate because of family, this resale option is definitely one of the more feasible ones compared to buying a BUC unit. Okay, number 2, you need to take note, if you buy a resale condo, right, you need to analyze the price trend over time. And the most important is also to know that what is the lease remaining for the particular resale condo that you're buying. You need to be very clear, are you buying for upside potential or are you buying for just own stay? Okay, because generally based on chart statistic, generally the BUC, we call it the building under construction property, generally the price trend for upside potential is higher as compared to private resale condo, especially for 99-year lease condo. So these are the few things you need to take note. And of course, if you were to just buy the resale condo directly, if you're buying the older one, you also gain the benefit of a bigger size. As you are aware that earlier speaker mentioned that now currently the COVID situation, work from home. If for someone who is very clear, you know that you wanted condominium with big size, then of course you have to go back to the older condominium where they afford a bigger size unit. So these are all the few key pointers that you and your spouse need to discuss. And nevertheless, for resale condo option, it is this option 3 is in fact not the very risk-taking one. It is quite a balance. So in fact, you still have spare cash. Okay, because generally the resale condo price are still priced at a more competitive price as compared to the current BUC unit. Over to Ji-Sing.
Yes, I think yes, I think one of the key things when you take note when you buy a resale condo. Now, when you compare buying an EC and a resale condo, now when you buy EC, buyers are affected by MSR, mortgage service ratio. That means the loan cannot be more than 30% on income. Now, when you buy a resale condo, you are only affected by PDSR, meaning to say, with the same pay, okay, you can actually take a bigger loan. So of course, when you take a bigger loan, there's a bigger risk. However, instead of buying a 1.1 something to 1.2 million property, you can actually buy up to 1.5 or 1.6 million property quite easily. So depending on the size you want, the location you want, buying a resale condo could be another option for people who want a bigger space, maybe a 4-bedroom unit in an older estate, an older condo. So this still remains viable. So before we make any decision, please, I always encourage buyer to do prudent financial calculations, work with a trusted advisor, and make sure that you actually implement proper risk management strategies. Now, for somebody in the 40s, it's very critical because the kids are still young. You still got another 10, 20 years to go before your kids are grown up. So whenever you make important decisions, work closely with a trusted advisor. Over to you.
There was a question. There's a question inside the chat group. Is resale EC similar to what we are talking about here? Resale condo, is it resale EC? Is it similar?
Okay,
yes,
maybe let me answer that.
Sure,
for the resale EC, right, you don't need to fulfill the it's like a resale, because after 5 years, PR are able to buy. In fact, after 10 years, it's fully privatized and the foreigners can buy. So you just take it as simple, it's like a condo unit. You don't need to fulfill the we call it the stringent requirement set by the government.
Yeah.
Back to
so
Ji-Sing.
so in short, it's actually this lah. If you are thinking of buying a resale EC, after the EC turns 5 years, we call it semi-privatized. Okay, that means Singaporeans and PRs can buy it just like the normal condo. Okay, when it hits 10 years, it opens up to everybody, including foreigners and companies, to purchase that particular resale EC, just like any other condo out there. Okay, so the EC has a longer runway in terms of holding period, but the EC eventually becomes a after it turns 10, right? It becomes like a typical condo after 10 years old.
Yeah. Actually, after 5 years, actually it's almost as good as private, because even a single PR, okay, above 21 years old, just got the PR yesterday. Okay, as long as he can actually service a loan, he can actually buy. There's actually very, very little restriction, almost like private property, except only difference is foreigner cannot buy. That's the only thing. So actually after 5 years, why EC is option? Because resale EC after 5 years at 1.1 million, you still can get something very decent and yet not too old. It's just only 5 years old. Then inside the rental is still decent. For people who want a younger condo, a resale younger condo, they can consider EC because it's still at a very affordable range. The price range is something that the median income actually can afford, and it's still quite new.
Yep. Thank you for all the comments. For the interest of time, we move on because I can see people signaling to Thomas already. Hey, your time must quickly. Okay. Yeah. So let's cut to the chase and show you some of the things, some of the changing demands in the marketplace itself. One is demographic shift. Okay, Singapore, we are considered one of the fastest aging population, meaning there are people who actually move from town area, they move to the suburb to enjoy the serenity. Lower price, bigger space, and at the same time, there are also people moving to town, right, for the prestige of owning a town address. Okay, so we have seen both phenomenons happening. Okay, which one happens one another after another? It depends on the life stage that the person in. I'll give you a very simple example, right? In 10-15 years time, Thomas is going to hit retirement. So if I stay in town right now, eventually I will try to move into the suburb. Why? I will liquidate my high price property, move into maybe possibly a suburb area. Okay, where I can enjoy the capital gain, the paper profits that I have, I liquidate it so that I can go and enjoy life, maybe fly to Germany, right? Now that we have the VTL for Germany. Okay, or it could be someone in the peak of their career. in the peak of their career, they may enjoy a HDB flat like yourself, some of you here, but you may want to move into the town area to enjoy. Sometimes because of budget constraint, you may have to compromise a little bit in terms of size, right? So it very much depends on how much you want to achieve your life goals, and how can you make sure that you make the correct decision is to look for someone who has been there, done that, especially agents in the marketplace, to help you out in terms of number one, your financial planning, number two, your space planning, number three, what are your life goals you want to achieve, isn't it? But you work with a professional, we are well trained, we have all the tools to help you make such decision. The last two things we want to quickly highlight is we saw some rising interest from parents, children, grandparents, and now because of the COVID pandemic, we can only go out eat in 2-person, right? So we saw a rising interest. There are people who actually go ahead and buy condos that has got dual key purpose. Dual key means you enter the same condo, it's got 2 doors, right? Key number 1 opens the door to a bigger unit, so the bigger family unit. Maybe the key number 2 opens the door in the same unit to a smaller unit, like a studio apartment. Maybe that's for the elderly parents to live in, or then the big unit is for parents with kids. Okay, I don't know whether, because Rainer and Jiseng are still doing sales, right? Is that a rising trend? Including people who go and buy big units, whether dual key or landed, is there a rising trend? Because we certainly have detected from data some of these trends.
Okay, based on my ground sense is the dual key, one of the key plus point is you buy a dual key, you don't need to pay an additional buyer stamp duty as compared to buying 2 units separately. Okay, yes, we do see bigger family, they wanted privacy and proximity, okay, to buy a dual key unit as one of the key reasons. The only tricky part is currently the supply of dual key unit in Singapore is very limited.
Very limited supply, right? Very limited supply.
Yes, I think there's a growing trend that actually Singaporeans, especially those more than the average income, probably the top 10-20% income earners, they are actually moving into landed. So we can see that the mass market condos are moving fast from HDB upgraders. Those are income that are stronger. Actually, they have a growing preference actually to move into landed properties.
Okay, so we can see demand in both of these. It's just that those with higher budget, maybe the parents are richer, okay, then they throw in a lot more budget so that they can move into landed. Why people choose to live together? Because number one, you eat dinner, you must eat separately. Even if 4-person go out, parents eat together, the 2 kids eat together. Like me, my family 5 people, I go out, I don't know how to split, man, into 3 tables, then I have to eat alone. Cannot be what. Yeah. So what do? We buy a big house and we all eat together. Then my parents can also eat together with us, isn't it? So that makes 7-8 people living under the same roof. So this is a rising trend in the marketplace, and some of you may be thinking about this as well, right? Okay, this is the rising trend number 2. We saw higher construction. I think it was mentioned in some of the slides earlier. Okay, higher construction make people choose. Okay. New property, we have a little bit of sensing. Okay, I do not know whether this will become a trend eventually because data has not proven that. But then what we can sense is that there is a rising demand for new property. I tell you why. Because when construction costs go up, when the construction workers are limited in terms of labor, the delays happen in the construction, and many of you may have read this in the newspaper, right? Delay in construction, okay, labor cost is going up because due to the lack of labor, because we shut the borders, right? So the foreign workers cannot come in to help us build our buildings, isn't it? So that caused delay in the marketplace. When that caused delay in the marketplace, yes, we can see that the renovation costs also go up, because lack of worker. So people may choose not to go into the resale market to buy old properties because they got to renovate it. Instead, they go and buy new property instead. Okay, again, comments from my gentlemen in this room.
Okay, on the ground, what we see is this delay in construction, right, actually drive demand for new launch property. Okay, why is that so? Because think about it this way, from the ground, they told us that number one, 5 years to build the HDB, and then subsequently when they stay into the HDB, it's another 5-year MOP. So that is a 10-year opportunity cost wait. So that's one of the key reasons we sense out from the ground that why they buy DUC. Over to Jiseng.
Yeah, I think I would say the very quick one. I think one thing is for the demand for new properties. It is more tied with the cost. When costs increase, it's likely that the price will increase. With rising land price, rising construction cost, there's no way the new launch price will drop. So actually, a lot of people saw the recent Lentor Central land price beat, setting a new high, and they are quickly going in for this short window to actually buy new launches that was still based on old land price costing. So that's a short window of opportunity. Yes, so this is why people are going in.
Thank you
Back
for the
to
comments,
Thomas.
gentlemen.
Yes.
I think we have already run out of time, and I've got to hand over to Shermi, our MC. Thank you for all your
Thanks,
comments.
Shermi.
And
Thank
those of you who feel that this segment is very short, don't worry. You can always reach out to any of our ERA trusted advisor, and we'll be more than happy to use all the tools we have in our mobile phone to help you make number one, financial prudent decision. Number two, hunt for a new house, whether it's a new house, a resale condo, resale EC. We can help you hunt down this. And number three, we will help you make a very informed decision using data to back up all your decisions. Okay, we're not here to do hocus pocus. We are here to help you make an informed decision with all the data backed decision. Okay, with that, over to you, Shami.
Thank you, Thomas, Chising, and your input.
Thank you.
See
Thank you.
Okay, so now we will be showcasing two properties, and please stay with us until 9:30, where we will be having the very exciting panel discussion with CEO, COO of ERA, as well as CEO of EdgeProp. So let's invite George Wang, District Division Director of ERA.
Yes, Shami.
Hi. So he will be showcasing province, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Shami. I share the screen first. Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? You can press 1 in the chat box so I know everybody can hear. Okay, all right, good. Okay, disclaimer, I have about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll share the essential of these developments with you guys, okay? So disclaimer, whatever I share is based on my own research, and the price you see is based on today also. Okay, so overall, I'm sharing on this EC. Is called Provence Resident EC. It's located at this near Canberra MRT station. So like Rainer has shared, it's only for the privilege that you can buy. So recently, the Bishan seller who sold the 1.36 mil, if let's say they are eligible, they are still eligible to buy this EC. They just need to pay a resale levy. Okay. So overall, the project information. Total units 413. Okay, we consist of 3 bedroom and 4 bedrooms. Okay, we don't have any 2 bedrooms here. Okay, the targeted TOP date is 2025. Okay, and the car lots will be 1-to-1. Okay, even we are so near to the MRT station. I will share more on the location and the surrounding. Okay, so I share a bit on the concept plan of this development. So overall, this concept plan, we are inspired by this French team. So overall, the landscaping, when you come down to our showroom, right, you are able to see our beautiful landscaping with a lot of colorful plants and the swimming pool. And this project is already launched. So as long as you are available, you can just book an appointment with our salesperson to go down to the show flats and take a look. Okay, so this is a landscaping concept plan. So you can see there's a lot of plants, a lot of private area for you to chill for your family. So the developer, they want to create this kind of lifestyle for everybody in the same community that they can enjoy this small private area. Okay, so this will be our facade plan. So you can see it's very luxury kind of sleek kind of building architecture inspiration. Okay, it's quite similar to our facade. Okay, landscaping, we consist of 2 zones. One is a Royal French courtyard. The other one is a countryside courtyard. Okay, so Royal French courtyard is basically the main swimming pool, the main gym, and also this kids area. Okay, so the countryside courtyard will be and the site of the developments with all the different colors of plants and landscaping, and those are pavilions for your families to chill and chit chat over there. Okay. And you can see the 3 bedrooms and the 4 bedroom. The 4 bedroom is the purple color side in the middle. So the rest of the 3 bedroom, you are able to get the landscaping facing towards the outside. Okay, you have partially, I can say most of it are block views. If not, it's facing our main pool views. Okay, all this when you go to our showroom, you are able to see more clearly. Okay, and it's our basement car park. Okay, so performance, how did we do? So these developments are we launched in May 2021 this year. So on the launch date itself, you can see EdgeProp, because we sold about 220 units. Okay, okay, sorry, I'm also the project IC. So this project from the start to now, I'm still helping everybody to buy these developments. Okay, so after launch, right now to date, we sold 325 units. So we only left the last 88 units. Okay, we still have 3 and 4 bedrooms, which I will share with you later on. And also the pricing. Okay, location, where are we? So I'm not sure you all know this. Have you saw this development? So I share a bit. Okay, so you can see our location, which is the logo, and our show site is at different locations. Okay, so our actual location is near Canberra MRT station and also near the upcoming Bukit Canberra. Okay, it's a sport hub that is done by our government. Okay, surrounding us, we have a lot of plans for this north region. Okay, later on my side will share also. Okay, so main thing is that we are very near MRT. Okay, so you ask me what are the shopping mall and how long we need to walk to the MRT station, all this. So you can see, so estimate by walks, if you walk to Canberra MRT station, take you about 6 to 7 minutes walk. And you can even walk to Sembawang MRT station. So it's about 10 to 12 minutes. This is all by walking distance. Okay, you have a short walk. So Bukit Canberra is only 3 minutes. So diagonally to us is Bukit Canberra already. Okay, you can see from the logo. So we have the other one is a shopping mall, is a Canberra Plaza, a new plaza for the residents here. If let's say you are not so familiar with this area, this is a new estate. Okay, so in the north region, this is the newest estate. Okay, so Canberra Plaza also just opened. Even the MRT station also just opened. Okay, if you are walk down a bit, it will be our Sun Plaza, which is we have the Hai Di Lao, all this. Okay, and you see finance. The other one will be Sembawang Shopping Center. We have all the eateries also. So it's all nearby. Okay, like buying a house, because EC, most of the profile are family. So I believe that this is some of the requirements that you want to have to buy this EC. Okay, so school nearby is another thing that a lot of clients ask me, what are the school nearby? So within 1 km, you have this Sembawang Primary School and Wellington Primary School. So within the 2 km will be Chong Fu and Abad Ibrahim. Okay, so we have 1 to 2 km, we have quite a lot of school, primary school. Okay, these are just amenities at nearby Sensong and NTUC where you are able to get. I think this is very important for families. Okay. Because buying an EC, you have to stay at least minimum 5 years after you get the keys. So these are all the essential things. Okay, next move on, I talk a bit on the master plan. Because buying a house, you also have to make sure that there's a lot of things upcoming, so you can, after 5 years, you want to sell, you can make more money also. Okay, so these are all found in the URA master plan. If let's say you are not sure, you can see from our articles here, the shipyard, Sabah shipyard, it will be moving away. Okay, so imagine they move out, what will happen to near sea development? So they will do either a commercial or residential facing towards the sea. So the price, you can imagine what will be the price like. Okay, this one will be the Bukit Canberra that I show you all. Okay, so this is a mega developments in the north region. So I think it will benefit all the residents in the north. And we are so near to it. So once it's ready, right, you want to sell after 5 years, I think this will also enhance your values of properties. Okay, and somehow we are so near MRT. Okay, these are some of the other developments like Canberra Plaza. Okay, it's already up and running. The Woodlands Health Campus is nearby also. They are ready by 2022, I think, maybe slight delay. Okay, then we have other like Race Course, the Wetland, and even the Mandai. Mandai will shift to the north side also. Okay, so all these are the happenings in the north. Okay, so I move on a quick one. I dive into our show flat layouts that you are able to see when you come to our show flats. Okay, we have total 3 different layouts. Okay, 2 3-bedroom and 1 4-bedroom layouts. So for these 3-bedroom show flat layouts, I share a bit more. Okay, this is the most functional layouts you can find in Provence residence. It's a 3-bedroom, only 883 square feet, but it gives you everything. 3 bedrooms, 2 toilet, 1 WC, 1 enclosed kitchen, bomb shelter, household shelter, and the yard area. So for my clients, when I serve them, right, a lot of time they will ask me, hey, do you have the yard area? Do you have the storeroom? All this. So developer is very clever, and they managed to come out this dumbbell layout. We call it 3-bedroom dumbbell layout that serve everything you need, and you don't pay a very high price for this kind of layout. And we have even a small balcony in the middle. So master bedroom on your right hand side and the 2 common is on your left hand side. Okay, it's a very functional layout. When you come down on show flat, you are able to see this layout. And we still have numbers of units. Okay, it's very, very functional. Okay. I will share a bit more on the pricing later on, but this is one of the most functional layout. Okay, and where is all those positions? So you can see the circle one. Okay, it's all our position. You can either get a pool view or facing towards the unblocked views. Okay, so all the facing are north-south facing, so you won't have any west-sun problem. Okay, that's another concern for upgraders lah. Okay, so pricing definitely facing the pool will be slightly higher. Okay, the next one will be our C6 layout. C6 layout is a very, very unique layout that in the market that you can seldom find it. Because why? Because this 3-bedroom layout, they come with a junior master. Okay, you have a master bedroom, very decent size, and 1 more junior master and 1 more common. Okay, the size is 116 square meter, 1249 square feet. It's equivalent to, it's even bigger than a new BTO 5-room flats. Okay, because a lot of time there's a lot of upgrader, MOP already, they come and buy, and they want this kind of size also, bigger than their current 5-room flats. So developer is very smart, and they come out this kind of layout which no other show flats or other developments you can find. Okay, they have an enclosed kitchen, a storeroom, a yard area, and the WC. Okay, and this kind of layout, I think that you suit those grown-up children. If let's say your kids is already grown up and they want a private place, junior master, I think will suit them, or your parents is staying with you with 1 kid. Okay. So the facing for this premium units will be all facing the main pool area, either the main pool or the children's pool. Okay. Similar, you are able to find in our showroom. Okay, lastly, the last layout is our 4-bedroom layout. 4-bedroom is very, very luxury. It's 130 square meter, 1399 square feet. It's similar to the older day, those newer EA HDB. If I say you are HDB upgrader, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Okay, so you have a very good size balcony, about 5.5 meter wide. Okay, you have this junior master and the master and 2 more common rooms. Okay, and it's found in our most premium facing, which is a main pool. Okay, all these similar. When you come down, you can see physically, but even better. Okay, the facing will be pool view. Just skip this. Okay, affordability. I share with you a bit on the pricing. Okay, so for EC, we have 2 schemes. One is MPS, the other is DPS. Okay, so for first timer, you are eligible for the housing grant up to 30,000 based on your income. So as long as your income does not exceed, you can buy. You does not earn too much, you are eligible for the grant. Even you have 0 income, you have the cash, you can buy EC. Okay, you are either first or second timer. So if you are second timer, you just have to pay the resale levy, that's all. And if you are holding on to the HDB, you don't want to sell first, you can buy first without paying the ABSD. Okay. So lastly, I share on the pricing. So for our entry price, just 1.005, you are able to get our most fashionable layout, C1 layout. Okay, all the way to our 4-bedroom junior master is 1.6. Okay, and recently we saw there's a lot of young families that they skip the BTO route. Straight away they jump to the EC route because maybe BTO they try a lot of times. So nowadays, if we happen to see there's a lot of young families straight away they jump, and the 1.0 something is very, very good entry price for you to start and kick off your private properties journey also. Okay. Okay, lastly is a developer. After so much, you also have to understand who's a developer, right? So MCC, so these are the past record for, these are all their track records. Okay, Sea Horizon is a EC, Pasir Ris, Nautica, Canberra. So they do a lot of EC and condo. Okay, so they are well known in Singapore, so rest assured. Okay, and most of, I can say all the developments make money. Okay, and the recent one that is launching if higher end will be the Landmark and the 1 million. Okay, so these are their latest developments, which is more higher end. Okay, so yeah, Shami, last one, quick one. Yeah, so overall the landscaping you can see this is our grand drop off. Okay, and the swimming pool. Okay, I just go the last stage. Okay, unique selling point, I just last one. Okay, so buying these developments, I mean buying properties, MRT, low entry price, 1 million, 3-bedroom, next time become condo. Okay, urban transformation, URA master plan is like a crystal ball. Okay, the layout for EC definitely, if you come down, you can see it's very, very good size. And also about the developer. Okay, single cannot buy, I have to form a family nucleus. Okay, okay, so I come to the end. Any question you can just ask in the chat. Okay, Shami?
Thank you, George. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So now we will be showcasing the next property. It's actually Commodore, and we will invite James in. Hello, James.
Hello, can you hear me, Shami?
Yes, I can hear you. So
okay, so I skipped the one thingy. Yeah. Okay, welcome to the second part of the property showcase, and thank you, George, for highlighting an EC. So if you cannot qualify and don't eligible to buy an EC, or if you think that you want a private condo instead, then we are entering to the right seminar right now. Okay, so I'll introduce you to this highly anticipated new launch called the Commodore. Now, the Commodore is located in Canberra, and this is an important naval enclave within the former Sembawang naval base. Okay, Canberra is a young and vibrant estate within District 27 with major government master plan being imbued into this up-and-coming estate. Now, it was named Canberra after a visiting warship in 1937. Okay, its first resident was the topmost naval officer in Singapore at that time, known as the Commodore Superintendent of the Royal Navy Dockyard. So this brand new project is aptly named the Commodore, which befits the rich and proud legacy within Sembawang itself. So if you're looking at something with good upside potential and also with District 910 luxurious, comfortable own stay, then look no further. You all must consider the Commodore. All right. Okay. So where the Commodore is located is that almost right next to the Canberra MRT station. So I think just now George went through the location plan. So we are quite near the Provence residence, and we are actually on the same site as the Canberra MRT station where the landed enclaves are situated. So this is where the Commodore site would be, and this is where the show flat would be. Okay, so we are that near to the train station. So from this site map, you can take a look that there are various side gates here for you to access to the train station. So if you look at my mouse cursor on the top right-hand corner, on my top left-hand corner, you see this side gate that you can throw a short stroll to the Sembawang Shopping Center. On this side of the road, where you can see my mouse cursor moving here, circling around here, this side gate gives you the direct access walk. I think it's within 5 minutes to the Canberra MRT station. Okay, so the main ingress and outgress will be here at the main entrance over here. So we are well spaced, north-south facing, 219 units. And the most important part, if you know just now, George and all the panelists mentioned about the delay in construction, this project, okay, will potentially TOP and Q4 2024, I'm sorry, okay, 2024. So in about 2-3 years time, it may potentially TOP. So if you're looking for something that is quicker in return on investment or something that you don't have to stay out there for too long. So you may consider the Commodore. Okay, right. So let me give you 5 key reasons, or now we coin it as 5 C's why you should consider the Commodore. First, connectivity and convenience. Okay, let me get rid of this screen first, over here. Okay, so in terms of connectivity, okay, we are just approximately 200 meters away from a train station. Train station is important, regardless whether you need to travel or you're looking at something, a real estate product that have high resale value. Because I am in this market for about 15 years, and most of my resale buyers, they always ask where is the nearest train station, because they recognize that in the event they don't have a car, then connectivity to the train station is important. So where Commodore is located, we are mere 200 meters away from the Canberra North-South line, MRT line. Okay, so this is the Google Map view, okay, over here. So this is where the new BTOs will be. If you are the fortunate few who gotten the BTOs, then congratulations. But there's only so many people that can qualify to buy this space over here. So if not, why not consider something that is equally well located as the BTOs here called the Commodore? Okay, so when another type of connectivity that we look at besides the train is also the buses and also the travel to town via your cars or Grab, or taxis. Okay, so as you all know, there's a north-south corridor that will come to fruition very soon in 2027, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so with the north-south highway, the motorists traveling between the north into the city center can save up to 30% of their traveling time during the peak hours. Okay, so in fact, there's also a dedicated bus lane, okay, for this north-south highway. So from this north-south highway, you can actually shave off your bus commute by easily 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so this is something that's very exciting that's happening in North, and this is something that you should consider, okay, when you buy your next property. Okay, so this is where the entry and exit ramp of the North-South Highway will be. So it's just probably a mere 3 to 5 minutes drive from the Commodore itself, okay, via this road called Sembawang Avenue. Okay, so I think Josh has mentioned earlier, we are very close to the Canberra Plaza. In fact, we are only about 3 minutes walk to Canberra Plaza. So you can buy your groceries there like NTUC, or if you're into Daiso, buying all your stationeries, or even enjoy your cup of cappuccino at Starbucks. And yes, there is A&W in the north as well at Canberra Plaza. Okay, so Bukit Canberra is also an important part of your plans next time as well within the Canberra estate. Okay, so it will have the first polyclinic in the Sembawang, okay, region. Okay, they also have the senior care center with a hawker center as well, with swimming pools and indoor sports hall. Okay, so this is a mere probably about a 7 minutes walk from where Commodore is actually located. Okay, so other things you can enjoy within the Canberra region, or more importantly, the Commodore. You have your shopping centers like the Sembawang Shopping Center, Sun Plaza, you have your Chong Pang Market, you have Causeway Point and the North Point Shopping Mall as well. As education-wise, the schools, I think Josh has went through with you in detail. We have Chong Fu Primary, Canberra, and Admiralty Primary School, all within driving or walking distance from the Commodore. Okay, so that's about the first 2 C's, okay, was connectivity, okay, and of course, convenience. Then now we come to contemporary. Now I've been to enough show flats out there, okay, and I've recently been to the Commodore show flat so that we give some training to our agents as well. And I was really shocked, really shocked by the finishings and the color tones that's offered by the developer. Okay, this is really unbelievable because, sorry, my Siri went on me. Apologies. Give me a minute. Okay, so contemporary design, all right? So we have only 219 units of well-considered spaces, okay? Why is this so? Because the developer, via the architect and ID, were able to create space within this development itself. Okay, so being contemporary can also mean you have giving you the luxurious finish that is equivalent to what you can find in District 910 nowadays. Okay, I will dwell on this, the finishes later, but I want you to have a concept that within this, you're buying a property, okay, within the District 27, although it's still considered OCR, the finishes and the design layouts won't disappoint you. So just to make an appointment with our ERA salesperson and when the preview starts. I'll give you the previous dates later. Okay, so this is the grand arrival, okay, where there will be a concierge in the basement of the development itself, which creates a warm and welcoming experience for any visitors of yours and even the residents themselves. The marble look-alike tiles contrast with the timber laminated panels, okay, exudes a luxurious hotel feel for residential development within District 27. Okay, so the concept of this urban luxury is inspired by this Armani hotel concept, where the colors are dark brown with some copper essence to reflect a product of modern, sophisticated, and luxurious development within the Commodore. Okay, so it draws inspiration from the many nature parks surrounding the development itself, namely the Sembawang Park as well. So you have choice indoor and outdoor water-based areas to pump up your exercise routine, from the gym to the cardio and the physio fitness center, as well as the 50-meter lap pool, as you can see from this picture here, okay, that amidst a large oasis of luxury within the development. Okay, so this is the heart of the Commodore, which is the clubhouse. Okay, this clubhouse caters to today's lifestyle demand, where you can host a private gathering in a luxurious setting, okay, complete even with a chef's kitchen itself within the clubhouse. So when leisure turns to work, so in the event you have to work, instead of having your meetings with your loved ones, okay, so this 6-meter high clubhouse on this plush work pipes, so you can work comfortably within the development. Okay, so not only can you use this for your, for your social gatherings, you can use this as your meeting place, okay, for your fellow workers as well, okay, within the clubhouse. Okay, so this is a picture of our 4-bedroom penthouse, okay, at the Commodore. Okay, this is 5.2 meters high. So all the penthouses, okay, within, okay, the development itself comes with a high ceiling of 5.2 meters high. So you can tell that it is really luxurious and the finishing wise is top notch. Okay, so this is the view of the master room. And not only you have space, the developer will also be providing satin glass wardrobe, which is quite rare, which is really very rare for a OCR project at Canberra. Okay, not only the satin glass wardrobe, they're also giving you timber flooring as well. Not your laminate or vinyl, but timber flooring. Okay, so this is something that I like to highlight. This is the, something that I feel very special about the Commodore. All right, so what you can see here is actually the kitchen setting, okay, of the unit within the Commodore itself. If you can follow my mouse cursor over here. Sorry, I lost my mouse. Okay, never mind. All right, so you can see the kitchen top over here, right here at the Commodore. All right, so you can see that it is, what you can see from here is the Constantino South Stone kitchen top, not your normal quartz surface top. It is the Constantino South Stone kitchen top, okay, which is directly imported from Europe. Okay, so Constantino is actually well known for their high-end kitchen tops. So it's a hybrid of natural stones and quartz stones. Okay, so this thing you can usually find in good class bungalows and also maybe in high-end condos like in District 9 or 10. All right, so but at the Commodore itself, the developer, okay, has decided to give every unit within the kitchen, okay, a South Stone kitchen top. Okay, so these are the choices of contemporary finishes that we have at the Commodore. Okay, so for the tap and shower fittings, the developer will be offering Hansgrohe from Germany. All right, so your hob oven and hood itself is Bosch. Okay, for your fridge and washer, Samsung. For your sanitary wares and basin, okay, for bath, they are giving you the Villeroy and Bosch, which is very rare for OCR, usually found in 910. Okay, for the closing, for the drawers itself, they'll be offering Bloom soft closing. And for the kitchen sink and facets, they'll be giving you Blanco from Germany, and the switches will be Rogon. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, okay, the kitchen top will be South Stone made by Constantino, a Spanish natural stone maker kitchen top. Okay, so in terms of choices, nothing lacking here. So we have 1 to 5 bedroom. Okay, so if you're working from home a lot, like what Eugene mentioned earlier, or a panelist mentioned earlier, okay, then probably you will find the bigger units more suitable because we have study room as well catered for you. So if you're looking at investment, okay, probably you have some spare cash that you are looking at a very strong product that's very well located within the train station, then you should consider the Commodore because we are one of the very few BUC out there, okay, that offers 1 bedroom. So you can see from the floor plan here, okay, it's a fully fitted kitchen that can even fit a king size bed within the bedroom itself. Okay, even the bathroom is fully fitted with V&B sink, enhanced grower bathroom accessories. Okay, so there's no differential in terms of the finishing between the 1 to 5. They'll give you the same equally good products, okay, out for every single unit type at the Commodore. So if you are a young family or you're looking for investment, looking for very good rental yield, potentially good rental yield, then you should consider getting this 1-bedroom as your investment property. Okay, so if you are a small family starting out, why not consider a 2+ study? All right, so this 2+ study is dumbbell shaped, very efficiently layout, okay, that you can actually enjoy at the Commodore. Okay, more importantly, okay, what we can do is you can see the study space here. The study space over here. All right, the floor plan itself, you can see that you can do your work from home at the unit itself, and the 2 units can easily fit a queen or even a king size bed at the master room. Okay, so this is something you can consider if you're starting out with a small family or looking for investment. 2-bedroom premium plus study. So if you're looking for your own stay, like I mentioned earlier, why not consider a 3-bedroom premium plus study as well? All right, so this is something that is very well designed, all right, where the 3 bedrooms are all flush in one line, so it's the same facing as your living area. All right, so with a utility and study built into the floor plan itself, you can also work from home, okay, with this as well. Okay, so this is our 3-bedroom premium plus study. So if you like something bigger or you have a bigger family, you can also consider our 4-bedroom exclusive plus study. Now, the uniqueness of this 4-bedroom plus exclusive plus study is it comes with a private lift. Yes, how many times have we heard private lift within an OCR project? Okay, so for the Commodore, within the OCR, the developer will be providing a private lift for all 4-bedroom exclusive plus study. All right, so not only do you have a private lift, you can also have a study room as well, in case you need to work from home or your student or your children has to have home-based learning. All right, so you have the home shelter for storage and a white kitchen, okay, for you to cook as well. Then, just now we mentioned about, I think just now Thomas, Rainer, and Chi Sing mentioned about dual key. Of course, we don't have dual key at the Commodore, but something very similar to the dual key. Why do I say that? Because we have a junior master that is the link from the 4 bedrooms that we had. So this is our 5-bedroom exclusive plus study. So where you can see from this floor plan on the right-hand side, you can see a junior master that comes with an attached bath. So if you have 3G living, 3-generation living, you may want to consider this as well. And not only do they have good space, good size, it comes with a private lift as well. All right, so to maintain privacy so that you won't be disturbed by any other residents when taking up the lift itself. Okay, all right, so this is our 5-bedroom exclusive plus study. So we have contemporary finishes. We also have good choices in terms of layout, starting from 1 to our 5 bedrooms. Okay, then when we buy anything that expensive currently, okay, more than $1 million for that matter, okay, we have to look at potential capital gain, or some people coin it as exit plans. Okay, so what are the exit plans, the capital gains that is potentially possible at the Commodore? Okay, so there are 3 facts that is currently going on right now. The recent bidding of government land sales has increased by a lot. Okay, by a lot. All right, so, and because of this increment in this government land sales, okay, the recent OCR projects has hit $2,000 per square feet. Okay, so this is a fact. These are 2 facts. And number 3, there's a lack of supply of new launches now. Okay, so what happened is because of these 3.
Here already. We have overrun.
Sorry?
We have overrun already. So sorry.
Okay. Can I finish up the last part? Let's just finish up the last part.
Okay.
Jeremy? Okay, I finish our last part. Okay, sorry. Okay, because it lacks supply, the price has increased, so it becomes a vicious cycle where where they become the buying spree to secure current prices. So what happened? Okay, so the recent land prices along Ang Mo Kio Atlanta has hit 1,001 to 1,002, so potentially launching at 2,000. And these 2 land is just about 6 to 8 kilometers away from the Commodore. Okay, so these are potential key factors that will drive up resale prices within the district itself and within the area itself at the Commodore. Okay, so more importantly, Shami, let me finish out this, but this is important for them. You need to find growth area within, okay, your estate that you buy. All right, so within the Commodore is the Canberra estate, which has a lot of land that is potentially for sale. Okay, so where we mark out with those red pins here are potential government land sales that's yet to be launched. So if you are buying something at something about 1,400 plus per square feet and bidded price about $650 per square feet per plot ratio, then you are quite safe to say that the subsequent land bids will be much higher than this. So this gives your exit plan a very strong case. Okay, so this gives your investment a very good protective layer, okay, in the very near future. All right, so I think you have seen Slim Barracks in the story between at One North. Okay, within a matter of half a year to 1 year, the land prices actually increase. Okay, all right. So quickly, okay. Our preview dates, our preview dates will be on the 12th of November to the 24th of November. Booking date will be on the 27th of November. So if you're just as excited as me for the Commodore, please register yourself with any ERA salesperson for our preview from the 12th to 24th of November. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you at the show very soon.
Thank you, James.
Okay.
So we are going into the next part of our session. Yeah. So we have been anticipating this panel discussion for the entire night. So let's welcome our CEO of ERA, Marcus Chu, and Doris Ong, COO of Project Marketing of ERA, and then as well as our CEO, Bernard Tong of EdgeProp Singapore. So they will be doing the live discussion right now. Hello, hello.
Hello, hi Shami. Can everyone hear me?
Okay.
Hi.
Yes, I can see y'all. So y'all can take it away already.
Okay, thank you all for staying till 9:30. I know we ran past our allocated time, but we'll try to get as many questions answered as possible. So we have here with us Marcus, the boss of ERA, as well as Doris, COO from the project marketing side. So this session is basically about asking you all the tough questions, okay? That maybe the users didn't get a chance to ask or the registrants wanted to ask. So we'll jump straight to the questions, okay? Okay, so the first question is for Marcus. I think we discussed this briefly when Nicholas and Eugene were talking about it. The prime HDBs and the rules change. So what's your take on this in terms of its impact, as well as are there any spillover effects to other properties not because of these new guidelines?
Yeah, of course, with these new guidelines on prime HDB, there are many coverage on this, including EdgeProp, isn't it? So EdgeProp have published its article on the 27th of October, that new housing model for prime location, which is the Roadshow BTO project to be launched under new model. And guess what? A lot of first-timer or possibly upgrader are looking at such sites because it is like the prime location of HDB, right? All right, so having said that, the new prime location public housing model, in short, known as PLH. So moving on, I will talk about PLH. That means the prime HDB properties. So the flats that is bought under HDB BTO and PLH resale flat do have this criteria. Okay, so these are the key eligibility conditions for that purchase of this PLH. Okay, so what are the key eligibility conditions that I would like to spotlight for everyone here tonight? Is that the MOP is extended to 10 years. So this is one very important considerations that you need to consider when you book the PLH. The MOP, minimum occupation period, is 10 years. And secondly, there is also income ceiling when buying the new PLH and when a new buyer that buys a resale PLH in the future, which means after 10-year MOP, it is stated that the income ceiling for the future buyer of the PLH new properties is also capped at 14,000. So this means there will be cap on the loan amount subjected to the 30% MSR ceiling and the age of the borrower as at today's date. Now, I mean, in the future, who knows what is the MSR? It could be increasing or you just stay at 30%. So what this means is there is a cap on the loan amount. Okay, so meaning the seller of the PLH in the future all right, possibly cannot increase the price as much as per right now when there is no cap in the income ceiling of a buyer. All right, so someone that's very wealthy is not, or rather someone who have earning high income will not be eligible to buy a PLH resale. And the third considerations that we find that the sales proceeds will also be reduced by the subsidy recovery percentage. I think this is a very important point, is that whatever sales proceeds that is coming back, okay, most buyer of BTO flats and also new flats will actually want to buy because there's subsidy. And in the future, you decide after the MOP, you know, you can cash out, right? All right, whatever proceeds that you can earn because it's subsidized. But right now with the PLH, selling a PLH, indeed there is a clawback in terms of that subsidy. So let's do a case study here. Very quickly, we do a case study of selling a PLH in the future and a non-prime BTO at MOP. Okay, I take for example this current PLH BTO 4-room flats. We don't know what is the current selling going price. We have to assume, we take reference from a Queen style 4-room BTO price in August 2021, which is the latest. Okay, so for a 4-room in Queen style, which is in the prime HDB location, it's about 670,000 for that 4-room. So we take that Q for Rocho if it's priced at 670 or so, versus a non-prime BTO 4-room flat that's in Hougang currently in August, it is priced at 368,000. You see the difference in price of the two new flats. One is in the prime and one is in the non-prime locations. So assuming the sales of flat at MOP for that prime Rocho place, if it's priced at 670, there is the MOP of 10 years. Okay, so this 1 million, where does it come from is, we are estimated based on the October 2021 average price of similar age 4-room resale flat in that area, okay, in that central area. So the average central area from our research is mostly from Duxton at Pinnacle. Okay, it's going at this rate is about $1 million. So we take Q from this, setting that future price, let's say is at today's price $1 million, at today's price 670,000. And for that non-prime BTO, today's price is 368. For 5 years later, this is the going rate at the Hougang 4-room flats. Okay, that is the average selling price right now. So with that, the question is, how much is the PLH subsidy recovery percentage? We don't know this yet. Okay, this is a question mark yet. But let's assume if the owner of the PLH flats needs to return 10%. Okay, I'm just putting a hypothetical number. Let's say 10% of the resale price back to HDB. So what will be the sales proceeds? I think this is what most buyers of PLH or BTO flats want to know, right? What is my sales proceeds in the future? This is what I will show you. For PLH, your sales proceeds will take into consideration of the interest rate that you have to pay for 10 years, okay? And the selling price, minus away all the interest, and returning back to HDB the 10%, assuming it's 10%, okay, means that your net selling price is 906, which means your cash proceeds is only about 40,000. But if you go to a non-prime, okay, your holding period is 5 years. So your interest cost is for 5 years. All right. So the estimated total paid at the end of 5 years is about 418, and the gross selling price is 552. And which means your net selling price being 552, you have cash proceeds of 133,000. So actually, if depending on how much is the percentage of subsidy recovery, okay, there is a price to pay now and in the future if you choose to stay in the new PLH. So I hope that answers your question, Bernard.
Thank you, Marcus. That is definitely very, very detailed. So it's definitely very good for our audience. Okay, so now we shift track slightly. Okay, so previously we heard a lot from the speakers talking about the COVID factors. So low interest rates, need for space, labor shortage. These are the things that are potentially driving up property prices, right? But these things may not last forever, right? So what is your view on property prices post-COVID when these constraints are eased?
Maybe I take this question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doris?
I think if you look at the chart since 2017, okay, if you look at the 2017, that's before the cooling measure, the prices is actually trending up. And you know, we have a cooling measure in July 2018. But then again, if you look at the chart that we have, you know, since 2017, prices have been rising. So if you look at the fundamental, whether with COVID or no COVID, okay, the fundamentals in Singapore is still there. That's why you see that the prices is trending up. And if we look at the property price index, okay, I think the next table. If you look at the property price index for the last 1 year, in terms of the last 2 quarters, the increase is only 0.8 and 1.1%. So this is actually very in line with the economic numbers as well. So if you ask us, you know, what rises it, or with the ease of the COVID, what's going to happen? What we can share with you is that the fundamentals of the uptrends of the private property prices is there. Okay, namely ease of COVID-19 restriction. Okay, I think we are, if you look at the direction of the government, they are going to open up the economy. If you look at what they are sharing with us, probably the next few months, they'll open up the economy. They likely is going to open up the borders so that more people will come to Singapore. There will be more tourism as well. So all this will increase employment, increase the economy output, at the same time increase in employment. So demand for all this will increase the property prices as well. And property is always a hedge against inflation. And the other fundamentals that we see is a recovery in the population growth. Not only resident Singaporeans, but we also see PR converting to Singaporeans. And with the borders open, we also see probably more people coming into Singapore as well. And like what my colleagues have shared earlier, property prices has also increased. Part of the reason is because of the rising land costs, rising construction costs, labor costs, material costs has all increased. And the other interesting part that we actually want to share is the growing demand from the affluents. Why do we say so? We also realize that Singaporeans and the property buyers get a bit more affluent lifestyle, the expectation of the product that they want, especially for new projects. So the expectation of better quality. So when the better quality of the finishes also equal to higher property prices as well, because the specification used is also higher. So these are, there's an uptrend of private property prices.
Okay, thanks, Doris. I think your point on inflation is definitely spot on. I mean, everything is becoming more expensive these days, right? Not just property, your petrol, your grocery, everything is going up. The only thing that's not going up is people's salary.
Well, it may go up as well after the ease of the COVID, where all the tourists come in, more people coming into Singapore, where there is more job stability. So then I think the income may grow again.
Yes, hopefully. Okay, the next question is also a very popular question. And I think the next question is also for you. You know, the gap between resale property and new launch property have been widening, right? So a lot of people say, hey, why, does it make sense to still buy new launch? Why don't I just buy a resale property that is 40% cheaper? What's your answer to that question?
I think we first have to look at new launch and resale. What is the fundamental difference? Okay, I mean, resale wise, first, new launch, why is it expensive? Because of all the costs that we have been talking about. And then also because, like I say, the expectation of the buyers now is higher in terms of the quality of the finishes. So then that's why the material cost is also higher. So all these costs add up, the construction, the cost of buying new launch is higher vis-a-vis resale. But fundamentally, you see the number of new homes is take-up rate is also very high. Why is that so? Brand new versus resale, new launch, brand new, first hand. So there is still people wanting to buy new homes. And then I think one of the main reasons why people is also buying new homes versus resale, or why the resale price there's a wide gap, is because of the tenure. All right, why tenure? There's a possibility of facing lease decay. Okay, we just pull out some of the data. If you look at Dane 3, which is launched in 2018, the median price is 1,008. Okay, I think if you put it on the table, a resale property, say High Oak condos, which is nearby. All right, same timing, it's going for about 1057 PSF, and the age gap is about 25 years, and the price is about $800 in terms of new versus old. So why is that so? Because of the lease decay. And what is the implication? Implication is on financing for the older properties. And the implication is you may not be able to maximize the usage of your CPF that you can withdraw out from your own account. So all this has caused the gap between the resale and the new homes. So new homes, you can probably maximize the usage and maximize the loan. So that's why there is still an inclination of buying new homes. All right, and then there's the other reason, resale versus new homes. I think is your preference. Why some people look at new homes, some look at resales. It also based on the needs. Whether do you need a place to stay immediately? If you need a place to stay immediately, you are not inclined to rent, then you may want to buy resale, because you can move in, say, within 3 to 4 months when you pay your option money. And generally, the resale properties, the space is larger. Okay. The other thing about concern, I mean, why people is buying new homes versus resale is because the older projects, you face higher maintenance costs. Maybe the sinking fund will be higher because they need to maintain the development. And then, like I mentioned, the lease decay. Whereas when you buy new homes, why people like to buy new homes is because in terms of cash flow, the installment when it's under progressive, under construction is cheaper. And then people, I think, typically like brand new things, is the latest design. I think a lot of new homes has incorporated a lot of smart homes technology inside, which the old resale properties has lesser of this ability. Or cost you higher. And then the good thing about new homes is because it has the 1-year defect liability from the developer. And I think also, I think in this market, new homes versus resale may be cheaper, but you need to spend more on your renovation costs. So ultimately, it could be about the same price already. So these are things that a lot of people are considering when they buy new home versus resale.
One of the other considerations which we have not addressed is when people buy resale, right, is they try to look for condos that potentially can be en bloc collective sales. And we are seeing some activities in this, right? We saw the Wharton Estates was so recently, last week, I believe. So can either of you comment on these en bloc activities? Are they coming back? Will property prices be driven by this again and stuff like this?
Yes, we see en bloc coming back. If you see the price difference, you see people buying more of the resale. It all depends on what is your fundamentals. If you are buying for investment, waiting for en bloc, but you have to make sure that you spot the right project as well, or the properties.
Okay.
Because I have friends buying resale, and they probably want to buy for own stay.
Okay.
But we do see activities coming up for en bloc.
Okay, thanks, Doris. Marcus, anything to add to these en bloc activities? Are your agents doing any of this?
Yeah, certainly. Bernard, actually, it's like the lottery effect, isn't it? If it's en bloc, right? It's like
if you can spot it correctly, it's not lottery.
That's so many properties out there. Every resale property is en blockable. Don't you know that? But how many get en bloc?
That's true. That's true.
You have to tikam if you are really going in for en bloc. Okay, so I think the objective has to be very clear why we are buying that property. Okay, seriously, there's only that bullet that you can fire. So if that bullet that you're going to fire is for en bloc, it's like throwing all your money into lottery.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay, coming back. Okay, the next question I think generally people want to know is, I mean, beyond the residential sector, because we have some investors that are tuning in also, right? So for the commercial industrial sector, what's the outlook? Because certain sectors are obviously badly affected, like retail, office space. So what's your outlook on the different sectors?
Okay, personally, I myself also own retail shops, okay, and offices, and I have my fair share of suffering from tenants who are not paying enough rent and asking for rent relief. Okay, having said that, I have a very good tenant, and I also give them some relief recently also. Okay, but let's focus back on the question that you are asking. So that question, give me a minute. Okay, its company would still want to set up office in Singapore. If you look at all the news cuts, basically many big companies are setting out their HQ or their flagship office in Singapore still. Okay, for example, here Amazon, Dyson, Razer, and so on and so forth. So many of these big names are setting out shops in Singapore. There must be reasons why they are setting out shops in Singapore, and more benefits will therefore comes for retail shops. And of course, when there are more people coming into this part of the world, which is Singapore, definitely the commercial and the retail property will also gain its traction. So more tourism will also promote better business. And moving forward, we expect to see that the retail and the office market will be able to stabilize and possibly even recover. Okay, Bernard?
Okay, thanks, Marcus. We also see some increased rental activities, whether it's resi, whether it's shop houses. Can you comment a bit on these rental activities? What's driving these rental activities that we are seeing, and the surge in the rental PSF also?
Okay, well, it's definitely a lot more people is coming into Singapore at this moment of time, but how come there is a surge in property rental? It looks like more properties goes TOP, right? So it's supposed to be more empty units than more unit rented out. Okay, if you want to take a look at this, the rental rates have actually rise across all segments of the residential market. Okay, this is based on Q3 2021 versus Q2 21. As you can see, all segment of the market have increased, particularly landed property, the bigger units, the one with more GFA or gross floor area. So we view that there are more resale homes sold. Okay. In fact, just now, if you were to listen to earlier on what Nicholas, Mark, and Eugene have updated, the resale volume as much as 50% more than last year. So until to date, it's like 15,000 resale properties sold, right? So last year until the whole year is like 10,000. So there are more resale flats sold. So more rental demand from those homeowners who have sold away their property, okay, in the hope of buying back in the market. And right now the market is rising. Can you imagine you sold your property, next moment after completion, 3 months later, your property price have gone up another 10% in that location. So you may not want to buy now, you may be priced out or so-called psychologically priced out. I sold at this price lower, and now I'm going to buy higher. So I don't want to buy first. So I rent first, hoping that there will be cooling measure coming and I can buy a lower price. So there's one area, one segment of people who are like this, who are going to the renter. And there's also more new homes sold. Right now it's about 10,000, the full of last year, 10,000 new homes that is sold. So there are more rental demand for those who already sold their home and they are still waiting for their property. And I'm referring to those new homes that is sold over the last 2 to 3 years because of the delay in constructions, because of the increased number of units that is delayed. So these homeowners who are already sold their property in anticipation that they should get their key soon. Whether is it HDB or HDB upgraders or private properties, they can't get their key in time, they have to rent. So this actually bring forth to increasing number of short-term tenants, which is like 1 year or slightly lower than 1 year, like 6 months, the minimum rental durations that someone rent property. Okay, the other thing is, of course, labor shortage we all talked about just now, okay, that will delay the completion of new home. And the factors, let me give you in a nutshell. Let me get back to this. Okay, so in a nutshell, the factors that drive surge in rental prices are these: increased demand in resale and new homes, okay, which I explained earlier on, a delay in the completion of new home, and also more short-term lease. Okay, more short-term lease. You know, when you are renting short-term lease, right, most landlord will not rent to you if you are a tenant. Even if they don't rent to you, they will. Most landlord will mark up the renter. So if you rent a 2-year lease, the rent may be cheaper. But because there are more short-term lease, because my BTO flat will only arrive 3 to 6 months later, so I won't be renting 1 year. I rent 6 months, right? So the rental price actually have gone up for that reason also, because there are more short-term lease. Okay, so the easing of the border, you know, more students and workers will be returning back to Singapore. Right? So it's also foreseen that the rental price will also hold up strongly, okay, in the months to come, and also increase demands from workers. Okay, so with my experience with the builders, they are also renting residential properties beside dormitory stays, okay, for their workers. So all these are the factors driving up the surge in the rental prices. All right, Bernard.
I guess we will expect to see a continuing rise in the rental trends as more units are being delayed. So for investors out there, maybe it's a good time to potentially look at some properties to buy and rent it out. Okay, we are almost approaching 10 p.m. So one last question, also very popular. I would hope that we get both Doris's view as well as Marcus's view on this. Cooling measures, we've been talking about this for the last, 18 months or so since the property prices started to run. What's your view on cooling measures? Is it going to happen? And if it does happen, what are some of the measures?
Okay, in addition to your...
Marcus, start first.
Okay, just give me a minute. Let me just go to... Okay, in addition to the questions, there's also a recent report from DBS and many other financial institutions.
Yes, correct.
Press also talk about predicting a very hot property market, and there will be cooling measures that is in the horizon. Okay, our answers is possible. Yeah, if price rise beyond economic fundamentals. Don't you agree, Doris?
Yes, totally agree.
Okay, certainly. So let's address this point. Is property still a viable investment options? I think all of us as homeowners and as investors have to take note of this. It all starts with your financial literacy, which means you should purchase property within your means. That is very important. And besides property as an investment vehicle, there is also so many other investment vehicles that brings forward a balanced portfolio. So a balanced portfolio is not just about 100% property. So we pitch in ERA is that we want our clients, our investors, to know that investments comprises of a basket of vehicles. I mean, be it properties, there's also stocks and shares, there's also funds, there's also unit trust that you can invest in. So we don't advocate everyone to put everything into property, right? But the question is then in that case, is property still can or not, can buy or not, still can get in or not? Still is a viable investment or not? Let me address 4 points, okay, tonight together with Doris. So both of us actually came out with these answers for you, okay, because there is all these concerns from our clients and also our customers that from the recent report is quite disturbing. It says that the alternative investment asset class may be better for second properties. I mean, depending on individual. So half agree and half not agree, depending seriously on individual and their capabilities and their financial ability. Okay, so they also talk about property price outpacing salaries growth, especially in the past 5 years. And changing demographics and aging population and tighter manpower policies also weigh out on the demand. So these are some of the concerns that is in that article. So whether you should invest in residential property right now, okay, there's always a saying, Doris, it's about not timing the market and is time.
To be in the market. Time in the market.
It's about time in the market, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so to address this, if you are a serious investor, 10 years ago, you asked the same question. Right now, you don't do anything about real estate. You are probably still crying that property is not a good investment because you haven't bought it, all right? So it's about time in the market. So shall you invest in residential property? If you have the holding power, why not? Okay, but there are some fundamentals that we can address and you can take note that there is reasons why property is still viable investment, unlike what the recent report says. Number one is about the growing household income that enables family to save up to buy properties. Okay, this point also addressed by the article, but I would like to address further on this. Okay, just take a look at this. This shows you that income growth of 53% over the last 10 years, over the last decade. Okay, HDB have increased by 27%, and private property has increased by 33%. So since 2009, actually household income grew faster than property price growth, and income growth at double the speed of HDB resale price growth. So with higher income growth means household, now they got higher income. Any individual that is in the household actually can save up more, right? Because you got higher income. And over the years of the last 10 years, you can actually save up to buy properties because your rates of income growth is faster, okay, than the rates of property growth. But the report says over the past few years, the income growth has actually shown to be slower than property price growth. Okay, so especially last year, I mean, this year 2021 and last year 2020, this COVID super bull run in the property market, okay, looks like property price have rose much faster than the household income. Totally agree. Okay, you see, property price growth is affected by economic and market cycles. And we see that this is an up cycle. Okay, in some years, property price actually rose rapidly like now. But in other years, both myself and Doris have also seen that the property price have crashed, have also came down quite substantially because of cooling measure and because of global financial crisis and so on. Okay, but household income usually rise more steadily over the years. Okay, so can you tell me from now to 10 years later, your income will not be growing? Impossible. Economy will grow. You know, our income will also grow. I cannot believe not increasing my staff pay on an annual basis. Okay, I cannot imagine that because we are increasing our staff pay on an annual basis, sometimes even biannual. Okay, and you compare to the property price trend, household income is increasing steadily. So there are periods of time when property price can temporarily rise faster than the household income, and this explains about the report. Hey, how come recently price have rising faster than household income? Because it's normal. This is normal. This don't speak every year. Okay, so you can see that the Singapore GDP have actually recovered and looks like it's still trending upwards. Okay, you can see there's a big fall during COVID-19, but actually ever since it has recovered. Okay, so this is another reasons why property is still a viable investments and employment is picking up. And this news is picked up from 30th October 2021. Okay, very recent article. Employments are picked up as job market improve. Okay, let's talk about the second reasons why property is still a viable investment. Isn't it a good store of wealth? This one I got to ask Doris. Doris, is property a good store of wealth?
Of course, today's high is, tomorrow's low.
Wow, because they are listening from a property investor and owner, like multiple property investment owner like Doris. She can tell you from her experience. Doris, tell us about this good store of wealth from your own experience.
I've been investing in properties, and I think, like I said, today's high. Every time you look at the price, then you say it's high, but then it's tomorrow's low.
So if you have not bought into property, won't you say that inflation has probably eaten your money, your dollar value of your money, of your saving?
It's a hedge of inflation. If you put money in a bank now, the saving rates are fixed D is 0.5%.
Yeah, that's right. So actually, it makes sense, right? It's a good store of wealth, and real estate is really a good hedge against inflation, isn't it? So if you have invested in property over the last 10 years, your private property price have increased by 63.5%. And if you haven't, your banks are the ones storing your money. Inflation has also eat up the buying power of your money by 19.8%. So you should do something, right? Okay, be it property, be it unit trust, or be it stocks and shares, you should have invested, right? Okay, so for all those savers out there, I think it's a mistake if you do not make any investment choice. Okay, and real estate is just one very stable and constant returns in terms of your hard-earned money. Okay. Then the other thing is about property also provide diversification investment portfolio. And this is what exactly I'm trying to advocate. It is prudent that each one of us diversify our investment portfolio and do not put all your eggs in one basket. Seriously, we are not genius investor, okay? We put our money in many different investment vehicles, and real estate is like one of the core investment vehicles that we should have. And because this will help us to diversify our risk and also our income streams. Okay, having said that, these are the performance that we quickly want to show you is that, of course, if you put in S&P 500, which is the stock market in the US, okay, for that $100 that you have put in over the last 10 to 11 years, you have grown to $635, which is 6 times, right? But if you put in S-REITs, it's about 486%. Okay, you put in private property is $399, which is almost 4 times. And the rest is like STI is $280. And private second homes is $209, considering all the costs that you have to finance that property. So I think private property is the 3rd best performing investment. So you cannot, you cannot say that property is not a good investment, right? Okay, it's one of the best performing investment, okay, over the last 10 years. And S&P 500 and S-REITs are more volatile, while property price growth is actually more stable, because there are crisis time that because it is liquid, okay, when the global market turn, okay, all the funds and all the REITs are sell down. But property, you don't see that because owners are holding it onto their property, and there's no sudden big drop in that property price. So, but if someone that is not savvy and not emotionally intelligent, when the market crash and you are holding on to stocks and shares, you may just liquidate everything at the lowest possible price. But for property owner, you cannot. You cannot hold on to it. So you cannot hold on to it, but over a period of time, you will come back again. Okay. But for those who have sold away your shares, you miss that opportunity of buying more shares during that time. So it's not about how you predict the future property market is. Seriously, it's about your financial intelligence and also your emotionally, whether you are able to hold on, okay, whenever there is any crisis. So that speaks about it is a balanced portfolio that you should be looking at. Besides stocks and shares, it's also property. Okay, last but not least, I believe that demographic change also support demands for property. Okay, this point here, Doris, I can continue.
Okay, go ahead. This.
Okay, so there are more singles, right? Okay, more singles means what? More property needed, right? Okay, be it more singles not getting married, or be it divorce, or be it older generations move out from the family and then at old age staying on a loan. Okay, so this one require more small size property. And who says singles cannot buy big size property? Okay, we see singles that is coming in, grabbing 3 bedrooms or 4 bedroom or even penthouses. Okay, they are singles, So doesn't mean single have to buy 1 bedroom, right? So there are fewer children and also smaller household. It may also increase demand for smaller unit and big units also. So I think for some of the travel restrictions that are relaxed right now, more expatriate will come to this part of the world, Singapore. And you probably see that news, right? US guy came to Singapore, proposed to the girlfriend. So create another family in Singapore. So you got expatriate returning to Singapore and get married with Singaporean, and then the demand for, first rental property and possibly later on buy property in Singapore. Okay, so in conclusion, these are the 4 main points, which is growing household income over the years will enable families to save up to buy properties. So before you buy property, you have to save up. Okay, next, property is a good store of wealth and also a good hedge against inflation, which is explained by Doris just now. And also property provides diversification of investment portfolio. So don't put everything in one basket, because during crisis time or during market movement, you may not have the financial intelligence or financial EQ to withstand the stress of the market. You may just sell at the wrong time. But for property, it is not so liquid. Okay, so as long as you have the financial capability, you can ride out all kinds of market volatility with illiquid asset like property. Last but not least, demographic changes in Singapore will certainly support demand for properties. So that wraps up the sessions. What property is still a viable investment for all you upgraders out there.
Thanks, Marcus. Thanks, Doris. And to the 200-300 listeners that are tuning in past 10 p.m., remember what Marcus said, timing in the market is not as important as time in the market, all right? And that answers the question of today's webinar. Does it make sense to invest now for the future? Okay, I'll pass it back to Shermi then. Shermi, are you still there?
Hi,
Hello,
hi.
Shermi.
I hope I'm here. It's a bit laggy.
Okay, so that's
It's
it,
a very
right?
long Thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in. Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you, Marcus, for staying up so late. It was unexpected today. Okay, can we hold on for a quick photo so that we can actually put it in our article next week? Smile.
Is it done?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thanks,
Okay,
Marcus, thanks, Doris, thanks all the speakers.
Thank you so
See
much.
you all soon.
Thank you everyone for staying late.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so maybe I'll just wrap up. For those of you who are asking, will there be a replay of this video? So basically what happened is we will actually if you are watching from our social media, you'll be able to see this entire session and seminar by tomorrow. So we will actually update this into our social media so you can actually replay this and get all the insights again from us. So I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we will be going off now. Thank you. Bye-bye.